Hi there, I'm Joe,
I'm Pearl.
and we're going to talk about how we went vegan. Some positives, some benefits.
Some negatives as well.
Right, some positives and negatives, rather than all of the positives. So, I've been vegan about 6 years, and I found that after living on my own, I don't know if you guys find this, is I just stopped buying meat. I grew up in a house that ate a lot of meat and stuff, and a lot of dairy, and just wouldn't buy that stuff. And I would only ever eat it if I went to a restaurant or something like that. And so I was maybe like 80% vegetarian, I'd say, at that point. And I found a documentary called Cowspiracy, which explored the sustainability side of veganism and dealt with stuff like hypoxic dead zones, which are created when farms just dump a whole bunch of manure in the ocean, and then it just makes it really acidic, and then it doesn't hold oxygen and kills all the sea life there. And deforestation, how they cut down like rainforests to create feed crops for like cattle. So and just the increase in carbon emissions, like the excess methane and all that stuff. So I really wanted to make a difference in the environment because I could see things were getting so much worse, and this just made perfect sense to me. And then I started learning about the ethical side of it and even the health benefits.
So I was dared to go vegan for a month, and here I am, 11 years later, and I really won that dare. So I should probably tell you why I was dared. So here in Canada, 100 stray dogs were killed simply because there wasn't enough interest from the public to go on those sleigh dog rides or whatever that was. So that was a big deal. Like, they were not, like, it was inhumane, and it was kind of a huge problem for that to happen here in Canada. So that was one side of it, and then the other side was that I used to be a cashier in a grocery store. People used to buy these rotisserie chickens to take home to eat. And I was the person who had to deal with the rotisserie chicken juices falling on my hand as I tried to slide it across the cash register without, to scan it. And so I would keep going home every day, and I kept complaining about how this gross stuff kept spilling on my hand, and how there was such injustice. So that's why I was dared to go vegan, and fair enough. Like, complaining about two animals when everybody else is still just being ignored, it made sense. So here I am, 11 years later, as a vegan.
Yeah, it's more consistent and makes sense and stuff. And yeah, so because we're so objective, we're going to talk about the downsides of veganism that we found. And, there were much less downsides than positives. But I found one of the hardest things was the convenience factor. Whenever someone brings free food, you just have to kind of decline. And looking for vegan options or vegan restaurants, much more difficult. And people don't understand, like at dinners necessarily. But
even when you're traveling,
yeah, especially traveling, it's tough. The convenience factor makes it really difficult. And I didn't know anyone when I was vegan, and Pearl and I just went cold turkey and just decided to do that.
The other downside is what other people say about you, and the stigma that goes along with it. So I was moving around quite a lot. When I first went vegan, I moved from, different cities here in Canada to different countries. And there was a lot of stigma, and it was sometimes really hard. And I did have setbacks because of it, because it's sometimes easier to be polite instead of standing your ground. And when you're younger, I was early 20s at that point, it's difficult. I mean, it's pretty easy to be swayed. I wish I was different, but that comes with age. So that was a really, really big problem, like the stigma. The other part was when people just keep asking you these ridiculous questions. So why are you vegan? Where do you get your protein? What if you're gonna die? Oh, you look sick. Without actually realizing, like, maybe she's just tired. Things like that. So any minor little detail can be just like you as a person become targeted.
Absolutely, but there are a lot of positives as well.
Mm-hmm.
Documentaries like Game Changers or Forks Over Knives will talk about the health benefits, and just some anecdotal personal health benefits I found were I used to have chronic acid reflux where stuff like meat is really acidic and it's really hard. It creates the acid reflux, but plants are really alkaline and they kind of help with digestion and help calm that. And I was getting constant nasal drip, so I think that was dairy, which cleared up, as well as acne and stuff. And yeah, so those are some health benefits, but then there's the sustainability side and just the ethical side of it. I mean, 99% of meat is from factory farms, so how many animals do we spare from living in captivity like that and being slaughtered? So I think that's definitely a plus to look back on.
Also, Joe found a good way to spend his Saturday mornings before. He would go out to where the chicken rendering plant was, and he would just go and join in some people that were trying to save the chickens. Which is really
Protest, yeah.
You meet some amazing people. You meet very strong, like-minded people as well. For me, some of the benefits were I had a solid brain fog all throughout high school. So that's where you just can't function. Like you're not at your optimal functioning. Like your body is not receiving the right nutrition. Your brain is just not working. So all throughout high school, I was just unaware of what was happening, and I didn't care. I was just bare minimum doing everything. And then going from that to university, that brain fog cleared because I transitioned into veganism in my late teens. So going into university was a great test. I had solid attention. My focus was just straight. Like I didn't put any effort into studying. I sometimes didn't study. I sometimes didn't go to class for the entire semester, and I was doing just fine. It's just your brain just it just absorbs everything. You don't need to be rereading the same paragraph over and over before you absorb it. You just do. I don't know why, but that was one of the benefits I found. Health benefits. So Joe mentioned a few. The others were your risk for type 2 diabetes is just, it's minimal. It's pretty much cut out. Cholesterol is cut out. Some of these developed world diseases, they're all gone. And you can just sleep better at night knowing that you're not part of the problem. You're part of the solution. Yeah, did you have anything else to add?
There's so much to talk about, but let's call it here, and maybe we'll make some more videos.
Yeah, if you guys like this video, let us know, and thank you so much for watching, and
Feel free to comment.
thank you.